He fell asleep in New Jersey before the bombs hit the ground. Broadcasting from a bomb shelter, he is the nuclear clown.
See this face that I'm doing right now? I've already recorded this video once and forgot to turn my microphone on. And now I have to record the whole video again face. That's what that face is. So anyway, okay. World of Warcraft Legion is barreling towards us. And it will be out at the end of this month. As of this recording, currently not out. I have played approximately 0 minutes of this expansion, but I'd like to talk to you about some Warcraft stuff in general. Things that bother me, for the most part. I don't know what it is with the main character in Warcraft, or one of them anyway, Illidan, that makes everybody so rock hard. But the throbbing, endless erection for all things Burning Crusade is kind of tiresome for me. Warlords of Draenor was the last expansion that Blizzard did for World of Warcraft, and it was kind of like an alternate reality Terminator 2, go back in time, what if, Marvel Comics what if type dealy. Where, what if the orcs never drank the demon blood and they were, pink instead of green and Iron Horde instead of whatever. So you go back to Outland before it became Outland and it was called Draenor, and you see the differences in zones and yada yada yada. Personally, I liked Warlords of Draenor. I thought it was cool. I enjoyed it. Even though it's a little lame with them doing, Burning Crusade 2 or a prequel to Burning Crusade. Just enough. Can we please get beyond this? Even though, to be fair, after Mists of Pandaria, they could have mailed me a box with a dead cat in it, and I would have been just thrilled and given it a thumbs up. Anything is better than Mists of Pandaria, in my humble opinion. So maybe Warlords of Draenor had a bit of a head start for me. But all in all, I enjoyed Warlords of Draenor a lot. Again, I just wish we can get away from this whole masturbatory Illidan Outland session deal. Whatever. I don't think it's that cool. Which brings us to Legion. Which, hey, guess what? Burning Crusade, they're back. Right? The Burning Legion is back, and oh my god, look, you can be a demon hunter, and you can even look like Illidan. Isn't that great? Oh my god, get the Vaseline out. Get the demon-scented Vaseline out. It's just stupid to me. I don't understand. I'll never get people's obsession with, riding the coattails of main characters and looking just like main characters. To me, I'll give you an example. In Legion, one of the features is, in the storyline, relatively early on, from what I understand, from what I've read about it, you get an artifact weapon. A weapon of great, great power to aid in your fight against the Burning Legion for the 8th or 9th time, whatever. So, the artifact weapon, as I said, is very powerful. It improves kind of as you do when you do quests and whatnot. You make it better, and you can alter the appearance a little bit. They have some options that you could do for it where you can customize it, right? Sounds neat, right? Cool idea. Here's my problem, though. These artifacts are iconic weapons from the Warcraft universe. So, for example, Thrall is one of the main characters in World of Warcraft. He's a very, the orc shaman, very influential in the kind of story told about the world. And he's one of the main guys. And his hammer is called Doomhammer, right? So if you're a shaman, your artifact weapon is Doomhammer. But hey, yours might be green instead of purple or whatever the fuck. So we're going to have a bunch of people who look like somebody else, another main character, who are using the main weapon, iconic main weapon of another character. Because originality doesn't fucking matter in 2016. Personally speaking, when I make a character, I kind of like to make it, mine, unique, something different. I don't want to be Thrall. I don't want to walk around with Frostmourne or whatever the fuck, artifact weapon from so-and-so's thing. You know what? If they want to do artifact weapons and they want to do a weapon that levels up with you that you can customize the appearance of, fucking great. That sounds like an awesome idea. Why can't I name it? Why can't it be mine? Why can't it belong to my guy? Why do I have to use somebody else's shit to make me feel like a bitch? Right? I don't like that at all. I've always been in the mindset in massively multiplayer online games like this and tabletop role-playing games like, Dungeons and Dragons or whatnot. And if you're watching this video, chances are you know what Dungeons and Dragons is. I'm willing to bet. I've always been in the mindset that a player character is special. A player character is a hero. That's the whole point of the game, right? To not be a regular guy. To not be another normal fellow. You're the main character in a story. You're a hero. You're a heroic sort of person. And I will never for the life of me understand why in a game where you're supposed to make an original, unique character, you have to tether yourself to all these pre-established characters, right? I don't want to be the next Thrall. I want to be the first my guy, right? I don't want to carry around somebody else's fucking weapon. I want my own artifact weapon, right? I just don't understand that, and I hate that. And the whole artifact thing, I mean, I haven't played. I'm just going on what I've read on the Blizzard site and stuff like that, and from like play testing that people have done on how the artifacts is. This is how I understand it. Legion might come out and it might be totally different and whatever. I'm sure I'll do a Legion review when it hits, but with what I know, I'm going to give my opinion. So that's my disclaimer or whatever. But I think that goes for the Demon Hunter class too. It's just we're at a point now where it's like, don't you want to be just like Illidan and look just like Illidan and carry around his weapon? And it's like, I'll never get it. I don't understand why we're cover bands of famous NPCs. It doesn't appeal to me. So going back to the whole heroic, I'm supposed to be the special focus of the game type thing. I want to talk about followers in your garrison. Now, I know that garrisons are going to explode and you'll never go back there again when Legion comes out, because you'll be on Garrison 2.0, otherwise known as your class hall or whatever the fuck. It's the same thing, I'm sure. But people, by and large, at least from what I've read and watched review-wise, were not a big fan of the garrisons and the followers anyway. A little miniature Facebook game where you could collect followers, gear them up, send them out on missions, and it's like a little Facebook game. People didn't like that. I thought it was great. I thought it was fine. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it. Ever. It's not a mandatory part of the game. You're not required to play. It's a little extra thing. If you're tired of leveling and going around and doing stuff, you can do this. You can gear up a little bit from it. You can get some fairly decent gear. If you invest in your followers and whatever. I wasn't offended at all by it. Actually, I thought it was quite cool. Here's my problem, though. My followers could kick the shit out of me. My followers are like level 100. Their eye levels are like 675, and mine is like 402 or some shit. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, they should be sending me on missions, because I suck. To me, if my character is a commander, if my character is a level 100 person, if my character is supposed to be like the focus or the hero of a game or a story or whatever, not even my character, just like, a main character in general, it's kind of silly if like the grunt shock. Okay, if Stormtrooper Tom on the Death Star has a higher eye level than Vader and the Emperor combined, There's a problem. There's a problem here, right? Somebody else should be running the show. I guess Stormtrooper Tom has a really bad publicist. That bothers me. I think that the followers should have had a level cap of like 60. Do you know what I mean? I know it's silly, and I know it's like it's such a silly nitpick, but for me, I just think it's hysterical that I'm bossing around all these followers, sending them on these bullshit missions to bring me money and bring me shit, when they're just as high level as me with far superior gear than me. But I'm in charge. I just think that's really silly. It's kind of like Robin having like the powers of Thanos, but he's still listening. You know, he's still the bitch in the relationship. That sort of thing just kind of bugs me. I don't get that. If it makes your character feel less heroic, is what I'm saying. If his quote unquote followers are just as high level with better gear. I don't know. That's just my my kind of take on it. It's a very small thing, obviously, but it just bothers me. It really, really bugs me. So I think they should have tweaked that. But while I'm on the topic of like abandoning garrisons, I think that World of Warcraft, and this video is going to be just a bunch of different shit about Warcraft. I don't believe that once you make a new expansion, you have to just fucking abandon everything that you did the last expansion. To me, that seems not only counterproductive, but destructive outright. And if you've played these types of games for any amount of time, you know what I mean, right? New expansion comes out, new sexy zone, this, that, and the other thing. So you abandon where you hung out before, go to the new zone, level up to the max level, then sit around that capital city and stare at each other. Until they release more content. And then you abandon that place, move on to the next place, and the cycle is just endless and it never stops. With massively multiplayer online games, I'm nigh religious about making the game better, not longer. Legion is going to have, surprise, surprise, another zone bumping the level cap by 10, yada, yada, yada. Now, that's all well and good, and I understand the game has to, I guess, grow, and you have to constantly have that carrot out there to lead people through to the next content patch. But in a game that still doesn't have any legit kind of player housing, and please don't sit there and say, garrisons are player housing, because they're not, because your garrison looks just like my garrison. Oh, but we could change the buildings. We're not having that argument, because you lost it already. Like, the customization on garrisons is laughable. Let me just put it that way. But no, that is not player housing. If you have all your bases covered and the player housing is in the game and everything's in the game, fine. Raise the level cap to your heart's content. But if there's still stuff really that we should have in this game that other games have had 5, 6, 7 years ago, for the leading MMO on planet Earth to not even really give a shit is kind of strange to me. And I really think that player housing, you're probably going to laugh when I say this, but player housing, in my opinion, could revitalize every single zone, every single piece of content that World of Warcraft has done up until this point, till the very day the game opened. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have player housing, and instead of, they take the team that they would have used to make a new zone and bump the level cap by 10 and do all the fucking legwork that you have to do to make that sort of thing happen. Take that team and develop a player housing system where, just like mounts, every race has their own like basic kind of house type. And you know, I know if you're out there, you're saying like, oh, well, they should do housing like WildStar. Yeah, you're goddamn right they should. WildStar's player housing was out of this fucking world. But I'm being realistic, right? Warcraft's not going to do that. If they did do player housing, it would not be that crazy. I don't know why. They have the money, the resources, everything to do shit like that, but you know it's not going to happen. What was I saying? I was saying something, I swear to you. I was going on and on and on and on saying something. Okay, so if you do that, if you put player housing and you have your base models per, you have like a troll house, basic troll house or whatever the fuck. Or they have some different variants, different styles of a house. Because that's kind of my complaint about the garrisons. They have a Horde garrison and an Alliance garrison, and that is it. That's as far as the difference in looks really goes. And like a blood elf running around with a bunch of shacks and savage looking garrison. It doesn't fit. You know what I mean? Like I would have liked more options for that, more customization to make the garrison my own. I like stuff like that. I think that's great. And again, I think it revitalizes all content and all zones. But getting back to that, so you have your player housing. You have, a human house, you have a gnome house, you have an orc house, and maybe there's different levels or different, options or just different pieces you can use or whatnot to make your house thing, okay? And then they flood the game with decorations for your house. And they make little decorations that are relevant to the quests that you do. For example, you get a quest in, I don't know, Dead Mines or whatnot. And if you complete that quest, you get a little replica pirate ship. Or you get, for every boss you defeat, you get a little replica statue of that boss that you can then put in your garrison or in your player housing. So what you do by doing that, and you flood the game, you flood all zones with it, right? So if you go to Northrend, and you do some quests there, a lot of their housing items could be, cold or undead related, just little trinkets or whatever the fuck, different styles of things, paintings, murals, statues, whatever's your pleasure. And they flood the game with this. And before you know it, I promise you, you will have people doing quests in Northrend. You will have people doing quests in Outland. You will have people doing old dungeons looking for this design because their house has this theme and this decoration would go great for their particular theme. Player housing can solve a lot of problems for World of Warcraft. A complaint of the game is that it's not very social. And personally, for me, for my playstyle, I like that I don't need to group to get a max level character. I don't need to group to see progress in my guy. Personally, I like that. I remember way back in the day with EverQuest, when you needed a group to kind of really, there's some parts where it was mandatory, it was necessary to really be in a group, and it was kind of frustrating because I'm an unpopular, disgusting person. So the fact that in Warcraft you can just, if you have a half hour and you're sitting around by yourself, you can get something done. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. But if you have content like player housing, and you can invite other players to your house, and you can show them all the shit you've collected. Hey, what do you think of this? What do you like this setup? Or how'd you get that decoration? How'd you get this decoration? Oh, I got it in this dungeon. Come on, I'll show you. I'll take you. I'll get it with you. It fosters community, is what it does. And that's what Warcraft, I think, could benefit from. Well, that's what any MMO could benefit from. That's why we're all here in the first place, right? So instead of doing another zone, tack on 10 levels, people are going to steamroll right through it, right to max level. They're going to steamroll right through the raids and then sit around and cry that there's no content for a month and a half because they went on all their websites and have all their add-ons to have them defeat every single boss on the first try. So I think that the game developers for MMOs are really at a disadvantage because you're not dealing with players, you're dealing with fucking cyborgs now. And they will obliterate content that you put out, whether it's 5 levels, whether it's 10 levels, whether it's 1 new raid, whether it's 10 new raids, whether it's 8 new gear sets or whatnot, gear tiers, or 1 new gear tier. They will consume it rapidly. But putting in something like player housing makes all the zones and all the work you've done in the past relevant. I remember when Mists of Pandaria came out, after I got done throwing up for a couple of weeks, there was one part I really enjoyed. In Mists of Pandaria, you get to I think it's called Half Hill, a place called Half Hill, and you get a little farm, and you do quests there, and there's a whole little kind of little side story of your character, I'm smiling thinking about it because it was so charming. you find this like dilapidated rundown. Look, a dilapidated boat. You find this old farm and you fix it up, and you use it. Like you actually go there and you farm and you plant crops, and then you use the crops you plant for the Pandaren cooking and stuff like that at the time. And I thought that was really, really neat. I would stop there every day and do my little farming dailies. And, it's a little mini game inside of Warcraft. And you could completely avoid it if you want to. It's not necessary at all, but it's a nice little diversion that's something different, like the follower thing. So anyway, when Warlords of Draenor came out, well, fuck your farm. You're never going back there again. Why bother? I mean, I was kind of hoping they'd have a farm plant in your garrison where you could like import your farm to your garrison. It seems like it fits perfectly, right? So all that work you did, you could kind of keep up on it, and they could do new crops for the Draenor cooking and stuff like that, and keep updating it. So it's a relevant part of the game. It just seems like a real shame. These developers, they come out with this content, a new continent or whatnot, all these raids, all these dungeons, all these storylines, and if you're not rolling an alt, like nobody's there. You go to Northrend to quest and there's nobody there. And I think that's a shame because, some of these places are really quite well done. They look great and they're just it's such a great atmosphere. I think that for all of World of Warcraft's problems, and I could go on and on and on about them, the one thing they nailed, in my opinion, is the most important thing. Having an actual world. I've never ever played a game that's even come close to the world experience of World of Warcraft. From the day and night cycles to the, being able to run from one end of a continent to another and not see a single loading screen makes you feel like you're actually immersed in a game. It's got that Minecraft kind of feel to it where you're in an actual world, where in a game like Star Wars: The Old Republic, it's Nick Arcade. You're playing in a very pretty painting that never changes. You go to Tatooine, it's always daytime, and a planet is a strip of road about yay big, and you're done. On to the next one. There's no immersion in the Old Republic as far as I'm concerned, and I think that's a problem. That's I think, anyway, what keeps people coming back to Warcraft again and again and again. I started playing World of Warcraft before Burning Crusade came out. Not since it launched. I played I started a few months maybe before Burning Crusade came out, I think. It had already been out for some time before I actually started playing it. And I've been on and off through the years, not like, a steady subscriber, but I always end up coming back to Warcraft. Always. I will always make my way back to Warcraft because of that world feel that you just do not get in any other game. And if there is a game out there that gives you that, let me know. I'd love to try it. But from what I've played, nothing even comes close. So, I am excited about the expansion, even though I just don't get the Illidan hard-on. I don't get why people just want to be clones of these major characters. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, but I want to have my guy be unique and have my guy be, his own deal, not just cosplay as Illidan. It's silly to me. And I'm not excited at all about the Demon Hunter class. I think it's pandering bullshit. I think it's stupid. I think that after Warlords of Draenor, I was like, okay, can we be done with Outland and prequel Outland, please? Can we move on to something else? But no, it's more Burning Crusade. More same old shit. You guys like Burning Crusade, right? Yeah, it's my favorite. You like Illidan, right? Oh my god, I'm going to come for Illidan. Great, look, Burning Crusade, the Burning Legion is back. Illidan, you can look like go get off as many times as you need. I don't know. I don't understand that. So I think I've covered everything, and I'm really mad because this is the second time I've had to record this. So that's why I'm kind of, what's the word? Downtrodden, depressed, bald, because life continues to strike me in the testicles is what it does. Life continues to serpent strike me right in the nuts. But I come here and I share with you. So happy Legioning when it comes out. Those are just some I don't know, some random World of Warcraft points. Will they ever do player housing? You know what? At this point, I don't think so. I mean, when they did the whole garrison thing, I thought, great, a step in the right direction. But it's 2016, right? We did this, like, here's where we were, and we took a little baby step towards player housing, and where we should be is, like, over here. So I don't really want to get in the habit of laying down buckets of praise for a billion-dollar company making a minor step kind of pointing towards the direction where they should have been years ago. I don't think that's really constructive to reward that sort of thing. And especially Blizzard. I mean, this isn't some mom and pop shop where it's like, well, Dave, it's just some guy coding in his fucking basement. Like, this is a billion, trillion, whatever dollar company. Blizzard has the they know. Like, I refuse to believe that these people don't sit. You know, it's not like, what should we do? Let me watch videos of bald fat people on the internet. Oh my God, we should do player housing. How could we not have, you know, like, of course they know. Of course these people know these games. I think that what's happened is Blizzard knows they're going to rope in who they're going to rope in. And while, yeah, sure, subscriber numbers ain't what they used to be, Blizzard is, World of Warcraft is still by far the top dog when it comes to this whole MMO deal. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Can they do a lot of things better? Absolutely. But nothing really comes close. I mean, even with the subscriber numbers that low, and people will point out, well, EVE Online has this much and blah, 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 and this free-to-play game has this much. Right, free-to-play. You know, I'm talking money. I'm talking that kind of success there. The second to Warcraft is not a close second, if you know what I mean. So they're doing something right. But with the resources they have, with the money they have to know. I just think that they're content to raise the level cap by 10, put out their expansion, and they know they're going to get who they're going to get. And I think that's good enough for them. They don't have to try to innovate. When you're so far ahead of your competition, you can coast. And that's kind of it. That's kind of, I think, where World of Warcraft is. Honestly, this is you're probably not going to agree with me on this, but I would love to see a Warcraft reboot. Just reboot the whole thing. Do a Warcraft 2. You know, a World of Warcraft 2. And start from scratch. Go 1 to 60, updated graphics. You know, take everything that you've learned in making this game and do like a juiced up, updated version, you know, with the same spirit, the same lore and stuff like that, but just starting again, making it, I guess, upgrading everything. Because in the leveling experience, I mean, I'm sure, you know, it doesn't take long to notice this, the quality goes, you know, up and down, because you go through, you do the new and improved Azeroth from Cataclysm. Cool, awesome. Then you go to Outland and you're like, wait a minute. Something's weird. The character models and the feel of this is decidedly less. And then you go to Northrend and it's like, well, this is better. And then you know, it's kind of all over the place. Like that. And it would be neat if they kind of just streamlined it, nuked it all and nuked it from orbit and then started from scratch. That's what I would like. I'm sure I'm in the minority there. But and I don't mean, return it to vanilla where it took you 8 years to get to level 60 and your riding was like completely, you know, 200 gold. You couldn't save 200 gold in 8 years. I don't mean that. Warcraft, part of Warcraft's success, well, I think a big part actually, and a big part of success in general is accessibility, right? Like pop music. The most enduring, most successful music is the kind that appeals to a wide spectrum of people. I do videos aimed at fans of Night Trap, Double Switch, and, you know, Street Smarts on Sega Genesis, and that's why my videos get 7 fucking views. So if you do content that's very specialized like that, you're gonna get very specialized results at best. So in games like EverQuest, where if you die, you lose levels and shit, and you gotta run back to your body, corpse runs and all that crap, you know, while some people may crave that kind of level of, I don't know, savage difficulty, I guess, that's all well and good, but you're going to have a lot of people who say, fuck this, I'm not playing a game that punishes me. So World of Warcraft did away with a lot of that stuff, and because of the accessibility of it, because you can quest on your own, because you can see progress without having to quit your job and leave your family, Warcraft got a lot of success. So I think that's a big reason for it, the accessibility. So I'm not saying make it harder, but I would not mind at all them kind of starting again. Mainly because I hate pandas and Klingon blue space aliens and Worgen. Mainly I hate a lot about this. So that's just some Warcraft thoughts that I wanted to babble about. Sorry, I feel like I'm like this video is depressing. Like I'm just monotone and like ugh. Mainly because it's my second time doing it. And mainly because my heart is just filled with cholesterol and other negative things. I want to talk about, with the whole character or player housing thing. You'll think like, well, Dave, how can, silly player housing, you may think that's... And, you may think that the whole player housing thing is goofy and silly and who needs that cosmetic shit. Things like that, in my experience with the game and in my opinion, are what make it socially successful. Where, where you're going for a particular item for the look of it, and you run into somebody else who's looking for the same thing, or they've got it already and they're hooking you up by showing you how to get it. And before you know it, you've made a friend in the fucking game. And this is that social kind of aspect that I was talking about. Where if you just plop on 10 levels, plop in a new continent, you're going to steamroll through it as fast as you possibly can and then be sitting around in Orgrimmar complaining that there's nothing for you to do. But if you're constantly searching for stuff for your player housing or whatnot, it seems more like the game is in your hands. And, the content is what you make of it. How do you want to decorate your place? How do you want to look, Which brings me to the changes they've made to the transmogrification system. And if you don't know, well, you should. Warcraft, they have a little transmog system where you can kind of pick how your outfit looks. So you could be in gear that doesn't match at all. You could be wearing a red robe with, bright neon purple sandals and a white, baseball cap turned to the side and whatnot, and you look like a fucking idiot. But with transmogrification, it kind of stores everything characters of that class and who can use that type of armor or whatnot. Anything that's been soulbound to them kind of gets logged in a transmogrification bank, and you can go and you can make up outfits and stuff like that. And it's very neat. It's a very cool change, and huge thumbs up on it. Is it perfect? No. I mean, there's some things that I think they could add to make it better. But from where we were to where we are is a huge leap, and I'm not going to shit on it because I have little nitpicks here or there. Overall, just fucking great. I love the new transmogrification system in World of Warcraft for the whole Legion update pre-patch thingamabob. I think that's great. And to be honest with you, and to kind of, I don't want to say prove my point, but to further back up my point about what a boon player housing, if they do it properly, could be, I've really never, in the time I've played the game anyway, I've never seen people so excited. If you go to a major city, it's fucking flocked with people. You go to the transmog place, and there is a seat. It's like a Metallica concert at the transmog place, and people are excited about the ease of making your own outfits now and making your own kind of look. And yeah, it's silly, and it has nothing to do with gear, and it has nothing to do with levels, but it's a cool added thing to the game. So you have people running back to old dungeons to get old transmog sets so they can look how they want to look. And you know what? Great. So people are doing old content for the new rewards placed there. And I think with player housing, they could do that times 5,000, because a housing community in a game can be really, really sociable and really, really great, because you have people saying, hey, everybody check out my house. I remember when I played WildStar for a little bit, their player housing was insane. And they had, guilds devoted to it and communities devoted to it. And people would just say, hey, guys, come check out my house. And people would give each other suggestions. And, oh, hey, how'd you get this piece? Like, what did you have to do to get this particular customization? Oh, I did this. Here, let me take you. Let me show you. That's how you make friends. That's the social part of games like this. And I don't think you need to tack on 10 levels and add a dungeon or two to make that kind of happen, because we all know how dungeons operate, right? You log in, the tank's already halfway through, and you have to play catch up, and by the time you run to the mob, everybody's dead because everybody's decked out in full heirlooms. Nobody talks to each other, and when it's done, everybody leaves. And if that's your idea of social interaction, the human race is fucking doomed. So I don't know. I just wanted to do a little video on Warcraft and some things that have been floating in my head, I guess. And I am excited about Legion, even though I talk shit about it a lot, about the Illidan jerk-off session and the whole thing with the artifacts, and just trying to make me, a fanboy, trying to make me cosplay as Thrall with his stupid weapon. I don't know. I don't like that stuff. But all in all, it's always an exciting time when World of Warcraft is coming out with something new. And for all the shit I talk about the game, nothing, in my opinion, really comes close to what they get right. Like Warcraft, for all its flaws, they got the big things right, and to me that goes a long, long way. So Murlocs forever is the moral of my story, and hopefully I put the right microphone in the little thing there, because I will not record this a third time for the 13 views I'm gonna get. Sayonara.